Heads are really important when you design a cartoon character. Any ideas why a head is so important? I'll explain later with Monster Boy, the main character of an 8-book series of mine, and I'll show you how it can actually be quite easy to design simple characters for your projects. But first, let's analyse some characters. This is Alice in Wonderland by Sir John Teniel. This is in 1865, and he's been brought up in this incredible tradition of life drawing. Maybe he had some photographic reference, I'm not quite sure. And we've got Arthur Rackham, and these are characters. It looks like a fantastic life drawing, very accurate, very photographic, very realistic. But this is Alice, and this is Alice. These are characters telling a story, and that is the essence of a character. And it doesn't matter how you draw them. A lot of the time, people think a character must look like Disney or it must look like anime, but no, this is a character. A character is just someone who is telling a story. Very often they are the hero or heroine of the story, but all the other characters in that story are characters. And it's just like putting on a play, a performance. You build a cast of characters to tell that story. And this is really, really complex. And this is really, really simple. This is Nicholas Allen. And you can see this is really, really simple. Some people will say, but I could do that. And yes, you probably could. But I can also tell you, because I know Nicholas, there's an awful lot of work has gone into making this look as simple as it is. Now, I've got a bunch of favourite books here. And look, these are characters. These are the heads. All right? And the heads here are just the top of the pencil. Does that make sense? So it's like the head normally is the top of the body, and the head is where you put the eyes and the mouth and everything. The eyes and the mouth and everything is how you create the emotion and the feeling. It's Supertato. Again, this looks so simple. It's the evil P. It looks so simple. It's a circle with a black thing and eyes. I know there's a lot of work has gone into creating this character. This looks really, really simple, but this is built on a lot of life drawing, a lot of observation, out sketching. It's a style. You'll find in all these books, a lot of it is about the style, the illustrator's style that they have applied to basic principles of character design. This is my absolute favourite. This is the book that really inspired me in the beginning. And what is so clever here, and makes me realise this is what I did with Monster Boy, it's like a mask. This is a 3/4 view. That's a side view. 3/4 view. 3/4 view. 3/4 view. And it's so simple. That's the back. And a head-on view. And those are the only views that you actually need. There are a couple in the middle where the story goes wild, where then you have to kind of really work at creating this one special face. But otherwise, they're pretty much the same faces all the way through. And the same with the monsters here. They're all pretty much side 3/4 kind of view, and they've all got the same eyes, and they're built on the same principle. And once you've got one, you can kind of give them different shapes, different clothes, and kind of build up a whole series of them. But because they're not the main character, there are one or two of the monsters are main characters, this character here, who you have to maybe do a little bit more work with, but the others, you just need this one angle, and you can repeat them and repeat them. This is Nick Butterworth's Percy the Park Keeper, and this is a 3/4 view, 3/4 view, straight on view, straight on view, straight on view, half hidden, 3/4 view, straight on view, straight on view. So there are only 2 heads you have to think about in the whole book. Story of the little mole who knew it was none of his business. This poor mole, somebody has dumped something on top of him, and he wants to know who. And as you go through the whole book, basically it's the same side view, or just sort of looking up. But it's basically side view all the way through. Here we have Marcia Williams' Greek Myths for Young Children. So this is kind of a serious subject for quite young children. The text is really cutting the story down. And the pictures are kind of echoing ancient Greece. But when you look here, they are really, really quite simple. They're all side views, head-ons, side view, side views. They're all kind of side views. And the differences between the characters are like their beards, their headbands, and the clothes that they're wearing. Now, you know Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler from the Gruffalo Stickman. This one is Tiddler. And basically, Tiddler is side on all the way through. And a lot of these other characters are pretty much exactly the same all the way through. You're not really having to think too much. And in terms of heads, you know, look, that is the head. You know, you're saying, well, what's this got to do with heads? Well, that is the head. And then you're moving the fins around like the arms and legs as you go along. Dear old Arthur, his head is pretty much straight on or three-quarter view. Three-quarter. There are only two ways of drawing Arthur, and if you practice it again and again, you can do it every time. This is really ancient. This is very British, Rupert. I grew up loving Rupert Bear. Again, look, it's pretty simple. Side view, side view, side view. It's a back view, head-on view, back view again, side view, side view, side view, side view. Well, that's like a backside, but there are these very simple heads, and it's almost like a kind of a puppet. You can take the head off and put another one on for a different angle and point of view. If you've watched this far, you must be interested in character design. So click down there and make sure you're subscribed for lots more videos about drawing and character design. Let's go back to where the wild things are. Because this is kind of where I got inspired right from the start. And you've got this very, very simple thing going on here, like that. And we've got the ears. So it's a costume. And then we got this hole in the whole thing like that. So it's coming in like that. And I'm making him look a bit older than he actually is there, but that's basically what we're doing. And you can translate that into just, you know, a face and put a nose in there and a mouth. And we can put an ear there if we want. And then we can start adding hair. And he starts to become a character. This is that with this mask put over the top, if that makes sense. We can do exactly the same. Put that nose in there. And these are very, very simple things going on there. And we can decide to give him some kind of a weird kind of hat. I don't know, maybe a little pointy bit on the top like that. And we could give him hair coming out, and so maybe he's, you know, starting to become Genghis Khan or something like that. And exactly the same face. We can give him, you know, a paper captain's hat with a skull and crossbone on, and he starts to become a pirate kind of character. And it's exactly the same face. You can use this pattern that's a head, and you're going to want to have eyes. You're going to want to have eyebrows, and the eyebrows really put emotion in there. And then you can have a very long nose if you want, and a really low mouth. And it's the way you place all these elements that adds the emotion and adds to the character. The nose is probably the main thing that you can use to differentiate a character. So if we have sort of 3 or 4 the same like that, and let's have all pretty much the same expressions, and we can give this one a cute little nose there, and then we can give this one a great big one like that, and that one there. These noses are differentiating the character, and this one immediately looks a bit older, and this one looks a bit kind of somewhere in between, and this one, because you've got this little button nose pushed up high, that makes it look younger. We can probably do extra things then by adding on ears, and we can have a kind of a boyish haircut there, and we can have a sort of a grandpa kind of bald head with that one, and something a bit more kind of hippie-ish or something like that, and why not add a moustache as well? You saw right at the beginning, these were exactly the same. It's the way you place all these extra bits around it's how you differentiate one character for another. The viewer's eye is immediately drawn to the face because that's what we do, and this is where you build your relationship with the viewer. I chop and change how I do faces, so quite often I will have eyes like that for characters because I know that I can then place little dots there and I know that they're looking up there. And if I put them here, then I know this one is looking at this one here. So you can really position where the eyes are going, and that really helps to tell the story. It's cueing the person who is viewing to know what's going on with the story, where to look. So this one is telling you, look over here, this is where the action is. So he's the one that we're looking at. Actually, I think it's him, isn't it? So so he's the one that we're really looking at. Maybe it's them. It's all of them, isn't it, really? So when it comes to drawing heads for characters, it's quite simple. But if you want it to look different, if you want it to look like yours, you've got to come up with a style, and you're probably going to have to start thinking, oh, this character needs more of a square face, because that's the kind of person they are, and that will just immediately start changing the whole thing. Or maybe they got a kind of a triangular head, and it just changes the kind of person that they are. And maybe they're not people anyway. Maybe they are dogs, in which case, you have to think, there's the dog again. You can... It's all kind of the same, though. And again, it's how you're going to draw a dog that becomes the style. But you still basically got this brain box, and a nose, and the eyes, and the mouth, and you can put some eyebrows in there to add all this emotion. You may remember a long time ago when you first started to write at school, you had to learn all these words, and that's what these are, and you had to learn how to put them in order. So each of these eyes are words, the eyebrows are words, but you have to learn how to put them together in an order. And Shakespeare will put the same words that you and I use together and create something with great emotional depth, whereas we will probably write a shopping list. And it's the practice and it's how you do it that really creates the character. A Monster Boy, I gave him these cute little horns, and he's very, very simple, and I have his eyes like that, so I can point them to where I want them to go. I can have him looking cross, but basically I start with this circle, and I have his hairs sort of sticking out at the top, and then that will come around like that. But then to get the 3/4, I'm going to have more on that side, so he's going to be looking this way. That would be slightly smaller, and this will be slightly bigger with a bigger gap here. And you'll have a little bit of a nose like that, and a bit of a smile, and maybe a bit more hair like that, with a little horns as well. And this front view and this 3/4 view are basically the two heads that I came up with. He was designed in a program called Flash, and is essentially a puppet. And every time I drew him again, I just thought, shall I have a front head or a side head? And the side head, of course, you can flip it over to do it the other way. And it was literally like just changing heads on a puppet each time I came to do an illustration. And if you can think of your heads like that, as being removable parts of a puppet, that you can think, oh, I will have that 3/4 head one, and I will put that on that body, then you are starting to create your characters. This is just a kind of an entry into characters, really. I'm going to be doing a lot more character design videos, so make sure you are subscribed to the Shoe Rainer Drawing channel. Now this is just a kind of a taster entry into character. This is just a kind of taster entry into character design, but I'm going to be doing lots more videos about how to create characters and how to get emotions and faces and bodies and language, all sorts of stuff like that. But I'm going to try and make it very, very simple for beginners. So make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Click that button down there, and I will see you next time. You take care. Bye bye.